the silent alarm. The night in the orbital station was calm. Stars shone outside the wide glass panels, and inside the halls, only a few alien guards moved slowly, half asleep. It had been years since any threat had come near this system, and many thought no danger would ever come again. But then, without warning, the alarm lights turned red. A low siren echoed through the metal walls, shaking even the tired guards awake. Everyone turned toward the control screens, and for a long moment no one spoke. A junior technician with trembling hands whispered, "Something is entering the system." The words froze the room. The screen showed a dark shape crossing the outer sensor grid, moving fast and steady. It carried no known code, no friendly signal, nothing but silence. At first, they thought it was a smuggler, or maybe a pirate ship. Such things sometimes happened in the border sectors, but as the image cleared, as the scanners focused, the guards felt their breath catch in their throats. The ship was big. Too big for smugglers, too sharp and armored for pirates. Its lines were strange, not like any council fleet design. One officer leaned closer and gasped, his scales turning pale. "This design, it should not exist, it cannot exist," he muttered. On the top of the screen, the computer placed a single word, "human." The room fell into silence. Even the alarm seemed distant now. Humans had been banned from building warships centuries ago. The Council had forced them to destroy their fleets after the last Great War. Every file, every record said the same thing. Human warships were gone forever. But here it was, an unauthorized human warship, crossing the system like a ghost from the past. No announcement, no warning, only its dark hull shining against the stars. The commander of the station, a tall insectoid alien named Varnek, slammed his claw on the table. "This is impossible. They swore their fleets were dismantled. Our archives confirmed it." His voice shook not with anger but with fear. He remembered the stories told to young officers, stories of human fleets tearing through whole sectors. One human admiral had defeated 3 combined alien armadas with only half the number of ships. And now, after generations of silence, a lone human warship was here. The young technician whispered again, "It is heading straight for us, Commander." Everyone turned back to the screen. The warship was not trying to hide, not slowing down, not changing its path. It was coming with purpose, like a hunter returning to its old ground. Varnik tried to steady his voice, send a message, demand identification. The signal was sent across the void, repeating again and again, but there was no answer. Only the warship moving closer, its engines glowing brighter. The crew began to panic. "What? If it fires on us?" one asked. "It has not attacked." Another tried to argue. "Maybe it only passes through." But no one believed that. The silence of the ship was worse than any open threat. On the surface of the nearest planet, citizens looked up at the sky and saw a strange new star. The news spread quickly. Rumors filled the streets. They say a ghost ship has come. They say the humans are back. They say the Council lied to us all. Inside the orbital station, Varnek made his decision. All fleets in the sector must be alerted, prepare for blockade protocol. His order went out across the system. Dozens of alien ships began to move, forming lines of defense between the human warship and the Council's core worlds. But deep down, in the hearts of every officer and every soldier, there was the same question. Could even all their fleets stop a single human warship? The dark ship kept coming. Its hull showed no scars, its engines burned without strain. It looked ancient and new at the same time, almost alive, almost watching them as much as they watched it. When it reached the outer defense line, it finally sent one short signal, not a name, not an explanation, just a chilling phrase, "History repeats." The signal ended and silence returned. The alien officers felt cold even though the station was warm. They all knew one thing now. This was not just a ship, it was a message, and whatever that message truly meant, the galaxy would never be the same again. Whispers of fear. The council chamber was built in a giant ring station above a glowing blue world. Normally it was a place of calm speeches, long debates, and endless arguments. But tonight it shook with noise, voices raised, wings trembling. Claws tapping against stone, every counselor spoke at once, fear breaking their polished words. "The records are clear," shouted a reptilian elder, his scaled tail striking the floor. "The humans were stripped of their fleets 300 years ago, every ship dismantled under our watch." "Then explain this," answered a gray-skinned counselor, her eyes glowing like cold stars. She pointed to the hovering hollow of the ship, captured by the orbital station sensors. Its hull reflected the chamber's light, silent and terrifying. An ancient human warship, alive when it should have been dead. Rumors had already spread faster than light. Citizens whispered in the markets, in the schools, even in the temples. "They have returned," some said. "They never left." Others whispered. Children repeated the words like a song of dread, and old veterans sat in silence, their hands shaking, remembering battles they had sworn to forget. The council leader, a tall, feathered alien named Sarek, struck the floor with his staff. "Silence," he demanded, but his voice was not steady. His wings shifted nervously as he spoke. "We will not fall to panic. We will not be ruled by rumors. We will find the truth." A smaller counselor hissed, "Truth? The truth is already here, Sarek. Look at it. That ship is human, and it moves with purpose." Fear turned into blame. Some accused the trade guilds, saying they must have hidden the humans. Others accused the Science Corps, claiming they might have rebuilt human tech in secret. But no proof came, only louder voices and shaking hands. Meanwhile, in the lower districts of the capital city, fear took another shape. Shadows moved in alleys where smugglers whispered. Old data chips traded for high prices, showing forbidden images of human soldiers from past wars. Some aliens even prayed, asking their gods to protect them from the children of Earth. Others cursed the council, saying, "You lied when you said the humans were broken forever." Inside the chamber, Sarek turned to the intelligence officer who had joined them through HoloLink. "Report," Sarek said. The officer's face was pale, his eyes sunken from sleepless hours. "We tried to hack its systems," he admitted. "But what we found makes no sense. The ship is active, its engines flawless, its shields strong, but its crew manifest is empty." The chamber grew quiet. "Empty?" whispered one elder. The officer nodded. "There are no life signs, no crew, yet the ship moves as if guided by perfect hands." Whispers grew like a rising storm. A ghost ship. A human AI. They always feared their machines. No, worse. Maybe humans learned to fight without bodies. The fear became a living thing, moving from one counselor to another, and then the hollow lit up again, the ship sending another signal. This time it was only a single human word. "Justice." The chamber froze. Every counselor knew what that word meant. The humans had once accused the council of betrayal, accused them of enslaving colonies and stealing resources. The old war had ended with a forced peace, but scars still remained. Now it seemed those scars were opening again. Sarek leaned on his staff, his feathers trembling. "We must prepare the fleets," he said, his voice heavy. "We must show strength, or every system will think the humans rule again." But a younger counselor, bold and sharp, shouted back, "No, if we fight them, we will lose. One ship already terrifies the galaxy. What if there are more? What if Earth rebuilt a hidden fleet while we watched the stars and laughed at them?" The chamber erupted once more. Half demanded war, half demanded surrender. Some wanted to send envoys, others wanted to strike first, but beneath all the shouting, the truth was clear. Every single counselor was afraid. Outside the chamber, soldiers prepared weapons, fleets were armed, and defenses powered up. But even they whispered, "Can it stop a human ship? Do you believe it can?" None of them answered. On the streets, mothers held their children close. Old songs of the human war were sung again, this time not as history, but as warning. Merchants closed their stalls, fearing raids, and priests lifted their voices. "Pray that the humans pass us by," but the human ship did not pass. It kept moving, slow and steady, deeper into council space. And with every mile, with every second, the whispers grew louder. Whispers of fear. Whispers of old memories. Whispers of a truth the galaxy did not want to face. Humanity was not gone. Humanity was not broken. And if they had returned, then the galaxy would pay a price it could not imagine. The standoff. The human warship moved deeper into the system, slow but steady. It did not hide, it did not cloak, it did not even change course. Like a predator walking in the open, it wanted everyone to see, and everyone did. Dozens of alien fleets rushed into position. War frigates, cruisers, and carriers formed lines between the warship and the core worlds. Engines burned, shields flared, weapons armed. For the first time in centuries, the Council prepared for open battle. On the flagship of the Defense Fleet, Admiral Krell, a tall armored reptilian with golden horns, stood before the holotable. He had fought many pirate wars, many border disputes, but his scales prickled now, his heart heavy. He had never faced a human ship, and the stories told to him as a child, whispered in his mind like ghosts. "Signal the intruder," Krell ordered. His voice was firm, but his tail twitched with hidden fear. A communication beam shot across the void. "This is restricted Council space. Identify yourself or be fired upon." The message repeated again and again, but the warship did not respond. It only came closer, engines glowing brighter, its guns visible now, massive cannons and launch bays that should not exist. Krell clenched his fists. "Do they think we will bow without resistance?" He turned to his officers. Ready targeting locks. The fleet locked weapons on the human warship. Dozens of crosshairs flashed red on holo screens, missiles armed, plasma batteries charged, fighter squadrons launched into the void. Every ship aimed at the lone intruder. And then at last the warship answered. A single transmission filled every channel. The voice was human, deep and calm. "Stand down, or watch history repeat itself." The words froze the alien officers. Some felt their throats close, others looked at each other in disbelief. The calmness of the voice was worse than shouting. It carried no fear, only certainty, like a teacher reminding students of a lesson they had already learned. Admiral Krell slammed his claws on the table. "Empty threats, fire warning shots show them we are not weak." 3 cruisers fired plasma bolts across the warship's path. The void lit up in blue fire, energy waves dancing against darkness. But the warship did not flinch. Its shields shimmered for a second, then returned to perfect calm. The cruisers prepared to fire again. But in that moment, the warship moved. Its main cannon lit up like a star. One single shot cut through the void. In less than a heartbeat, one cruiser was gone, split in 2, its burning halves drifting silently. The other ships froze, every pilot staring at the wreck. The warship had fired only once, and the message was clear. This was no warning. This was power. Panic spread through the fleet. Some captains begged to retreat, others demanded to open full fire. Krell barked orders, trying to hold them together. "Stay in line! Do not break formation!" The warship's voice returned. "This system is guilty. Do not stand in the way of justice." The words echoed in every ship. For the Council officers, it felt like a death sentence. For the soldiers, it felt like prophecy. The fear that had lived in whispers was now alive in fire. In the Council chamber above the planet, the leaders watched, the feed in horror. One ship against a whole fleet, yet it moved like a giant among insects. Counselor Sarek's feathers trembled as he whispered, "If this is only one, then how many more do they have?" But not everyone was afraid. Some counselors leaned forward, greed in their eyes. "If they rebuilt fleets, maybe we can capture this one, learn its secrets, use its weapons." Their words spread quickly, but even they spoke with shaking voices. Back in space, the standoff dragged on. The alien fleet surrounded the warship. Thousands of weapons pointed, but no one dared to fire again. It was like standing before a sleeping volcano. One wrong move, and fire would consume them all. Inside the alien ships, crews whispered, "What if it is unmanned? What if it is controlled by human ghosts?" Others swore they saw movement in the ship's shadowed windows. The myths of the human war burned again in their minds. Admiral Krell struggled between pride and survival. If he attacked, he risked the destruction of his fleet. If he retreated, he would be remembered as a coward. His decision hung heavy, every second stretched into eternity. The warship drifted closer still, its guns turned slightly, one by one, locking not on the fleet but on the Council's capital world. Every defense system in the system went to maximum alert. The civilians below looked up, saw a strange dark star in their sky, and knew their lives now hung on the edge of one human choice. The standoff had begun, and no one knew how it would end. Only one truth was clear. The galaxy had forgotten fear of humans. Now it remembered the hidden truth. The alien fleets held their positions, weapons armed, eyes locked on the human warship. But the ship did not fire again, it only drifted closer, calm and steady. Its silence was louder than any battle cry. It forced every commander, every counselor, every soldier to ask the same question. Who controls this ghost? In the Council's intelligence tower, deep below the surface of the capital world, a group of agents worked in darkness. Screens glowed with lines of alien code. Hacking programs raced through encrypted layers. Their task was simple: break into the warship's systems. If they could understand it, they might find a way to stop it. Agent Kira, a slender amphibian with cold silver eyes, stared at the data streams. Her gills flared nervously as she whispered to her partner, "This ship, it is not like anything. In our records, it is alive in ways we don't understand." Her partner, a scarred veteran named Dorek, frowned. "Alive? Don't use that word," he growled. But deep down, even he felt it. The warship responded to their probes like a predator swatting away insects. Every attempt to break its firewalls failed. Every door they tried to open slammed shut in their faces. Hours passed until at last Kira gasped, "I found something. Look." On the screen appeared a ghostly image. It was a crew manifest, but the names were gone. Only blank spaces remained. Worse, the biometric data showed 0 life signs. Aboard, Dorek leaned forward, his claws tapping the console. "Impossible. No crew, then who pilots it?" Kira whispered the thought none of them wanted to believe. "Maybe no one. Maybe it is the ship itself." The words spread like fire through the intelligence ranks. Some said it was controlled by an ancient AI. Others said human minds had been uploaded, turned into eternal captains. And darker whispers claimed that ghosts of the old war still haunted the steel. Whatever the truth, it was not natural. It was not sane. And it terrified them. Meanwhile, in the council chamber, Sarek and the others argued, "An empty ship cannot fight like this." One counselor shouted, "Yet it has," Sarek replied bitterly, pointing to the wreckage of the cruiser still burning. In orbit, another counselor hissed, "What if this is not the only one? What if humans kept a whole fleet of these ghost ships hidden for centuries, waiting for revenge?" The chamber grew cold at his words. Every counselor felt it. This was not just an intruder. This was a reminder of everything they had tried to erase. On the flagship above, Admiral Krell received the intelligence report. No crew, no signatures, nothing alive aboard. He stared at the hollow of the dark warship and whispered, "Then what are we facing?" For the first time, he felt the full weight of the old legends. The stories told to him as a child of human ships that fought until their last breath. Ships whose captains refused surrender even in death. Ships that seemed to move by instinct, as if the steel itself had a soul. The warship continued forward, ignoring the blockade. Its massive hull passed within range of dozens of alien cannons, but none fired. The fear of the unknown was stronger than orders. Every gunner hesitated. Every commander waited for someone else to act first. Then, without warning, the warship sent another message. Not words this time, but images. The holoscreens of every alien ship flickered. Scenes of burned colonies, broken cities, starving children appeared. The same events the Council had sworn to bury in forgotten archives. Gasps filled the bridges. Some officers covered their eyes, others stared in horror. The warship was not only a weapon, it was a judge. It carried the memory of every crime, every betrayal, and now it forced the galaxy to look. On the streets below, civilians also received the images. Their holopads lit up with the same visions. Alien families wept as they saw evidence of things their leaders had denied for generations. The Council's lies were unraveling, and it was the warship tearing them apart. Admiral Krell slammed his claws on the table. "This is psychological warfare," he roared. But even as he said it, he knew the truth. A ship without crew, showing crimes long hidden, fighting with impossible precision. This was more than war, it was punishment. Back in the intelligence tower, Agent Kira's screen lit up with a final line of code. She translated it aloud, her voice shaking. "We are not gone. We are waiting." The room fell silent. It was not just one ship. This was a shadow of something bigger, something hidden. If one ghost ship had appeared, then more could be out there, sleeping, waiting to rise. In the council chamber, Sarek whispered, the thought none dared speak aloud. "This is not an attack. This is a warning." But the warning itself was almost worse than destruction, because warnings always meant something greater was coming. And if the humans had returned, then the galaxy stood on the edge of a storm it could not survive. The hidden truth had been revealed. The human warship was not only real, it was alive, and it carried with it the weight of human vengeance, the human voice. The galaxy waited in silence. The human warship hovered like a dark mountain in space. The alien fleets held their weapons ready, but none dared to move first. It was as if time itself had frozen. Then, without warning, the ship spoke, not with data streams, not with strange images, but with a human voice. Deep, calm, steady, too steady. It echoed across every channel, into every fleet, into every council chamber, into every home where receivers caught the signal. "You broke your word," the voice said. The words were simple, but they struck like thunder. Counselors in their high seats froze. Admirals on their flagships clenched their hands. Civilians, watching from cities, felt their hearts pound. The voice carried no anger, no desperation, only a cold certainty. The voice continued, "You enslaved colonies you promised to free. You drained worlds you swore to protect. You silenced those who resisted, and then you lied to yourselves that it was peace." Images appeared again, this time sharper, clearer. An alien mining world, stripped until only dust remained. A colony where children worked in chains, a peaceful protest crushed by soldiers. Each scene tied to the council's hidden crimes. Now, exposed for all to see, gasps and cries spread through the council chamber. "This is fabricated," one counselor shouted, his hands shaking. But his words rang hollow, because many recognized the places. Some had even signed the orders. Now, their faces burned with shame. On the flagship, Admiral Krell whispered, "Who are you? What are you?" His voice carried across the comm, but the human voice answered everyone at once. "We are memory. We are judgment. We are the hand of those you tried to erase." The alien fleets trembled. Some captains shut down their weapons. Others kept them locked. But all of them felt the same fear. It was not just a ship, it was a voice from history, a voice that refused to die. Civilians across the system fell into panic. In markets, people abandoned stalls to run into shelters. In schools, teachers tried to comfort children who cried at the images on their hollows. On the streets, protests erupted, some against the council, some against the humans, but everyone agreed on one thing. The warship was not here by chance. It was here to deliver judgment. Back in the intelligence tower, Agent Kira listened closely. Her silver eyes narrowed. "There is no distortion," she whispered. "This voice, it is real. It is human." Her partner Dorek frowned. "But there are no humans aboard." Kira shivered. "Then maybe the humans are speaking from somewhere else through it." The warship spoke again. "We do not come for blood, not yet. We come to remind you of what you chose to forget. You believed humans weak, broken, scattered. You believed your lies would hold, but you forgot one truth. Humans remember." The words rolled like a storm across the galaxy. Every ship, every station, every city now carried the same sound. Some aliens wept, some shouted in rage, some fell silent in terror. Because in the voice they felt not just anger, they felt endurance, the kind of endurance that had once carried human fleets through impossible wars. In the council chamber, Sarek's feathers trembled. He leaned toward the hollow feed, whispering almost to himself, "This is not only a warning. This is a promise." The younger counselor beside him slammed a fist on the table. "If we bow now, we lose everything. They will return, they will conquer, they will take back what they believe is theirs." But even as he shouted, his eyes betrayed fear, because deep inside he too knew the truth. The humans had never truly been defeated. Only waiting, on the flagship, Admiral Krell gave one last desperate order. "Surround them. Show them we still hold power." The alien ships tightened formation, circling the lone warship. But the human voice spoke again, calm and steady. "Surround us if you wish. It will not change what is coming." Every officer, every soldier felt their courage break a little. More. It was not only the weapons, not only the shields. It was the certainty in the voice. The unshakable belief that history was already decided, and that the humans had returned to claim their part in it. On the surface of the capital world, millions stood in the plazas, looking up at the sky. The warship appeared above like a black star, its shadow stretching across the cities. Parents held children close. Merchants closed their doors, and everywhere whispers filled the air. Are the humans back? Will they punish us all? Or will they burn the council only? For the first time in centuries, the galaxy no longer feared pirates, or rival empires, or even the council itself. It feared humanity. A humanity that spoke not with desperation, but with quiet, endless strength. The human voice faded, leaving silence in its place. But silence was worse than noise, because silence left the question open. What would the humans do next? And in that silence, the galaxy realized something terrifying. The war had not begun. The war had only been announced. The fires of rebellion. The blockade hung heavy in space, a wall of alien warships forming a steel ring around the intruder. Dozens of vessels glowed with power, their cannons ready, shields shining like burning suns. From the council's high orbit, millions of eyes watched. No one blinked. No one spoke. The silence before war was louder than any scream. At the center of it all drifted the human warship. It moved slowly, like a predator that had no fear. Its black hull reflected almost nothing. Its shape looked ancient, older than the current age, but the sharp edges, the scars of old battles, gave it the aura of something alive. The ship did not hide. It came forward, daring anyone to try. The alien commander of the blockade gave the order. "All fleets prepare to fire. Do not let it through." Hundreds of missiles lit the darkness. Bright lances of plasma cut across the void. Explosions ripped the stars into red and white. The alien fleets roared into battle, their ships diving into formation, their shields blazing. It was the greatest storm of fire the council had seen in decades. But the human warship did not fall. With calm precision, its guns spoke. The first blast cut through 3 ships at once, melting them like paper in fire. The second tore a cruiser apart in silence, leaving only drifting pieces. Every shot was clean, every strike was exact. It was as if the warship already knew where its enemies would move before they even thought. Panic spread in the alien fleet. Captains shouted over broken comms. Crews tried to run, but the ship was always faster. One alien officer whispered, "It hunts us like it can read our minds." The blockade broke within minutes. Dozens of ships turned and fled, their formations scattered. The commanders screamed at them to hold, but fear had taken root. One after another, vessels burned or disappeared into hyperspace, leaving only wreckage behind. Inside the council chamber, the leaders watched in horror. A single ship was undoing an entire fleet, an entire defense line that had taken years to build. Their faces turned pale. One elder remembered the old wars, when human fleets had torn through sectors like storms. His voice shook as he said, "History is not repeating, it is returning." The human warship advanced, cutting through resistance with surgical grace. Each enemy vessel destroyed added more terror to the hearts of the watchers. It did not waste fire, it did not miss. It destroyed only what blocked its path, as if guided. by some cold intelligence beyond normal limits. On one alien carrier, the crew begged their captain to retreat. He refused. "We stand or we all fall." But the warship's next strike cut the carrier in half, the two pieces drifting away like dead planets. The screams of the crew were lost in the silence of space. In the outer sectors, rumors began to spread faster than the battle itself. Traders whispered that humanity had returned with new weapons. Miners said the ship was unmanned, a ghost controlled by the anger of the dead. Others believed Earth had been waiting, hiding a secret fleet in the shadows of uncharted space. Whatever the truth was, one fact stood clear. No power in the galaxy could stop that single warship. Inside the council, blame replaced unity. Some shouted that the intelligence officers had failed to detect this threat earlier. Others accused rival species of secretly helping humans. The chamber broke into chaos. Old alliances cracked. Words of rebellion sparked like flames. "Why should we protect the council?" one ambassador hissed, "if it cannot protect us?" Outside, the fires of battle still burned. The alien fleets were ashes. The human ship moved forward unharmed, shields glowing with unearthly light. It slowed only once it reached the edge of the capital system. Every citizen on the planet below looked up at the sky, their hearts frozen. They saw the ship as a shadow crossing the stars, a reminder that the galaxy was not theirs to rule. It belonged once again to the humans who had vanished but never surrendered. The council leader slammed his hand on the table. "We must act before it destroys us all." But deep down, every leader in that chamber knew the truth. This was no random attack. This was no pirate raid. This was a message, a warning carved in fire and steel. The human warship held its position, silent now, like a judge waiting for the guilty to confess. Across the galaxy, whispers became screams. Colonies began to riot. Outposts refused council orders. Minor races declared they would no longer bow to the same rulers who had promised peace but delivered chains. The rebellion had started, and it had begun not with speeches, not with votes, but with the fire of a single human warship cutting through the void. In the silence after the battle, one truth echoed across every world. Humanity had returned, and nothing would ever be the same again. The message to the galaxy: the battle was over. Where once a great blockade had stood, now only ruins drifted. Broken ships spun silently, flames flickering in the cold dark. Rescue pods blinked weakly as they floated among the wreckage. The stars themselves seemed dimmer, as though the void was holding its breath. At the heart of this graveyard stood the human warship. It did not chase the fleeing survivors. It did not fire again. Its guns were silent, its engines steady. It had reached its destination, the alien capital. Below, the planet glowed with city lights. Billions of citizens stared upward, their skies filled with the shadow of the ship. They had heard rumors all their lives, stories of the vanished humans, dangerous, clever, unstoppable. But none of them had truly believed. Not until now. In the council chamber, fear was a living thing. Leaders from dozens of races sat frozen, their voices gone. Some whispered prayers, others clenched their claws or tentacles in silent rage. They had built fleets, empires, and laws to keep humanity buried in history. Yet one ship had burned, it all away in a single night. Suddenly the silence broke. The human warship's comms came alive, every channel open, every frequency seized. Across the planet, across the entire star system, one voice spoke, calm, clear, human. "You thought we were gone. You thought time and silence would bury what you did. But humanity never left. We watched, we remembered, and now you will answer." The voice echoed in every home, every ship, every outpost. Children hid under beds. Soldiers stood frozen at their posts. Even the council members, proud and arrogant, felt small as the words filled the air around them. The warship drifted slowly into the planet's orbit, its shadow crossing over oceans and mountains. Its guns pointed down, but it did not fire. The message itself was the weapon. You broke your own promises, the voice continued. You enslaved colonies you swore to free. You turned treaties into chains. You built an empire of lies, and you called it peace. We warned you once. You did not listen, so now we return. In the streets below, riots broke out. Citizens who had long whispered against the council now shouted openly. Humans are back, they cried. The council has lied to us. Fires burned in protest. Soldiers hesitated, unsure whether to crush the crowds or join them. Inside the chamber, leaders argued, fear twisting into blame. This is your fault, one shouted at a rival. You pushed for the ban on human fleets. Another slammed his fist, demanding the immediate surrender of the capital. Others whispered of secret escape routes, of fleeing before the humans, revealed more ships, but the truth cut deeper than any blame. If one ancient human warship could destroy fleets and cripple the council, what would happen if there were more? If Earth had hidden an entire navy? The thought alone was enough to shake the galaxy. The human voice gave its final words, slow and cold. This is not conquest. This is judgment. We will not enslave you as you enslaved others. We will not lie as you lied. But you will answer for what you have done. Every race, every world, every leader who built power on broken promises. The galaxy belongs to all, or it belongs to none. Then silence. The warship powered down its weapons, anchoring itself above the capital. It did not move. It did not leave. It simply remained, a shadow over the council, a constant reminder that the humans had returned. Across the stars, the message repeated, on mining colonies at the galaxy's edge, on merchant stations between trade routes, on forgotten outposts that had not heard from Earth in centuries. Everywhere the words echoed. Humanity never left. Humanity remembers. Rebellions flared like sparks in dry grass. Worlds declared independence from the council, waving banners of old promises. Slave races broke their chains and turned their anger against their masters. Whole fleets refused, orders fearful of meeting the same fate as the blockade. The galaxy trembled. In hidden corners, whispers grew into terrifying questions. Was this only the beginning? If the humans had one warship, did they also have 10? 100? 1,000? Had Earth been rebuilding in silence, preparing all along? Or was this ship a lone ghost, carrying only the anger of the past? No one knew. And that ignorance was worse than any truth. Back on Earth, far beyond the Council's reach, the oceans and forests remained untouched by alien rule. The people there, silent for decades, watched their first emissary shake the stars. Some prepared for war, others prayed for peace. But all agreed on one thing. Humanity's time of hiding was over. The alien council, once the most powerful force in the galaxy, sat broken in fear. Their empire had survived pirate wars, border rebellions, and rival alliances. Yet it now bent under the shadow of a single human ship. The story did not end here. It could not. The galaxy knew it. The council knew it. Every citizen, soldier, and leader knew it. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again.